Us tonight, let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would ask that we start this evening with a moment of silence for two of our former employees that passed away in the last few weeks. There's Robert Panza, served with the district for 23 years. He started as a science teacher from 1971 to 1982 at PCIS. And then he was an in-house suspension supervisor from 1990 to 2002 at PCIS. And he also spent many years as a Plymouth sports coach. And then Marguerite Costa was a cafeteria worker. She served us for 28 years and 5 months, starting at West Elementary from 1975 to 1984, and then Nathaniel Morton from 84 to 2004. So I would ask that we would take a moment to remember these two individuals. Thank you. Do we have any comments from the public tonight? Anybody want to make a comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to old business. I don't think we had any updates for the existing old business. Did anybody have anything new? Any new business? No new business? We're moving at a good clip here tonight. We get bogged down. Reports and proposals from the superintendent, and if you just want to say hi, that's okay. Because he just got off a flight from New Mexico.
I just was on my smartphone on Google Docs creating tonight's report, so I have a few things to report on. I know many of you have heard that we had a very successful trip to England, and our kids did exceptionally well. I think you've seen pictures in the paper and some reports on social media. But I have to tell you that we're very proud. I know people have probably approached you and talked to you about the impression they made. And I think one of the things that we had said before we left is that we really wanted them to be ambassadors of this community and this country, and I think they did a fantastic job. And they will be joining us. I'm going to have them come and visit with the school committee and have the kids talk to you a little bit about their experience and what it meant to them. So I know you heard them before they left, and I think you'll be really pleased at what they got out of it, not only culturally but educationally. So I'm going to have them come and talk to you a little bit. Reminder that the first day for teachers is August 31st, and mark your calendars because you'll be sent an invitation to come to opening day, the celebration that we have for our staff. So that's August 31st. And I believe over the weekend you were informed of the groundbreaking ceremony for Plymouth South High School. That will be September 24th. So just want to make sure you put that in your calendar. We will send out official invites. The invite pool will be quite deep, and we're going to invite a lot of the same people that we had at the North celebration, but it will be a little bit different because we'll have some of the community people that were in that area back when we had the vote passed that really supported the whole building projects in Plymouth. Today we had an exciting day because we had our students leave to Shishikahama. They left, and from all accounts they are on the plane and they're in the air. So they are doing well, and we have 12 students that are going to be representing our community. And just to remind everyone, this is the 25th anniversary of the relationship between Plymouth and Shishikahama. So it's a very special trip. We have members of the community that are going as well. We have chaperones for our students, but we will have them come back and provide a report on the activities and their events as they travel to Japan and represent our community. And I'm going to be providing I'm shifting gears here to another topic, but I'm going to be providing a very in-depth report about a program I've been working on with Harvard Medical School, Beth Israel Plymouth, Reebok, and a couple of other partners to introduce a morning activity program into our schools from elementary to middle school. And it's a really neat opportunity to get students active in the morning 3 days a week. And we're going to look at introducing this probably in September. But it's a pretty exciting opportunity that we're working with. And it's really part of this whole idea of prevention and resilience with kids taking care of themselves, and what they do with from how they eat to how they exercise. So you're going to receive a stakeholder survey from me, Harvard Medical School, and Beth Israel to really ask questions of our community as to how you feel about student health. We're doing this with Harvard Medical School and Beth Israel, and I think it's one of the things that we've been working on our prevention pillar, to really look at how we can get kids to really care about well-being and what it means to grow up and to grow up in a healthy environment. So we're going to bring some information to you, but in the next couple of weeks you will receive a survey that I hope you take an opportunity to fill out. Not only will the school committee receive the survey, but for several years now we have met as with many stakeholders, probably about 150, 200 stakeholders of the community, and we've had several meetings to talk about the health, well-being of our community. Those individuals that sit on this larger group will be receiving that survey as well. And the last thing I have to report on is today, tomorrow, and Wednesday we have our last Innovation 3 meeting, and that is the big 5-year grant that we got. It's hard to believe that this is the fifth and final year of the grant, and this is our last summer institute, and it's going on over at North, and we have about 200 educators that are in the district from all over New England, the 13 partner schools that are partaking in the last professional development opportunity that we have for the Innovation 3 or the I3 opportunity that we've involved many schools in throughout New England, and we've been the lead on that. And our last summer institute is this summer, and it's at North. So if you have an opportunity, stop in, and tomorrow will be a great day. I'll be there for a while, but that's my report for tonight.
Very good, thank you. Next we have Ms. Hunt's going to review the retirements. Since Pam's not here, yeah. Yeah, just, yep.
By name?
Yeah, just because Pam's not here tonight, she's on vacation.
Oh, you printed it out. Thank you. Okay, so for retirements, we have Mary Barr, special needs aide at Indian Brook Elementary School with 18 years of service. Kathleen Cavaco, business office secretary in the administrative building, and 26 years of service. Holly Delano, grade 1 classroom teacher, 18 years of service at Manomet Elementary School. Joyce Semper, cafeteria worker, Plymouth South High School, 26 years of service. Andrea Smythe, cafeteria team leader at West Elementary School, 16 years of service. And Sheila Veloza, special needs aide at Indian Brook Elementary School for 24 years of service. So on behalf of the school committee, I would like to thank these individuals for a combined 128 years of service to Plymouth Public Schools.
Wow. Very good, thank you. Now correspondence, we have a few, and then I have a late breaking one.
A late one?
A late breaking one, yeah.
Okay. My system just jumped over. Okay, here we go. There are 5 pieces of correspondence tonight. A thank you letter from the director of the Friends of Plymouth Pound in recognition of the contribution of supplies for the adoption center from the students, parents, and school educators who participated in the Plymouth Public Schools Animal Shelter Project. Next, there are 2 letters from PCIS Principal Brian Palladino to the Plymouth Rotary Club and to the Plymouth Lions Club in recognition for their generous payments to the Berwick Boys Foundation, which allow 3 PCIS students to experience a life-changing summer program opportunity. The 4th letter is from South High Principal Patricia Fry to student athletes Ashley Palmer, Maddie Sessler, J.C. Andrews, and Jaden Andrews, extending congratulations to them for their outstanding achievements at the New Balance Outdoor Track Nationals in Greensboro, North Carolina. Mrs. Fry also commended these student athletes for their impact on the younger runners through their leadership and contributions to the success of the South High team. Mrs. Fry acknowledged the efforts of the girls' spring track coach, Jeff Tracy, and wished the girls success in years ahead at South and after. The final letter tonight is from English Language Arts Coordinator Lisa White to the President of the United Way of Greater Plymouth County, in acknowledgement of their generous donation of books. Dr. White noted that the books were distributed to the children in our elementary Title I summer reading program and visitors to Plymouth's middle school libraries, and thanked the United Way for their support of Plymouth's goal of creating proficient readers who choose to read for both information and for pleasure.
Very good, thank you. That's for later.
Okay.
And now we have another piece of really good news. In the last few weeks, everybody knows that we've had several administrators and principals that have achieved different awards in their professions and their different areas. We had Mr. Costin was the Business Administration Award, and Mrs. Fry, Patty Fry, had got the state principal of the state for the year, and she's in the running. She's one of the finalists for nationally. And now we have our own superintendent, Dr. Maestas, has received an award. And I'll just read the first paragraph of what he got. Congratulations for being selected as the 2015 MassQ Administrator Award recipient. This award is presented to one Massachusetts administrator in recognition for visionary leadership in the field of educational technology. The administrator's efforts have gone above and beyond in providing inspiration to other administrators and educators. Your achievements and contributions are evidence that you are a catalyst for advancing the effective use of technology in education. And congratulations. It's very, very prestigious. It's nice to be working with such a gifted team. We really have a great team throughout the entire district. And it shows. Now we have, are they all ready for you ready? Okay, so.
We'll have Mr. Capel, if you would like to introduce our guest tonight, that would be wonderful. I know I talked a little bit earlier about the experience that we had in England, and I tell you, this is my 27th year in education, and it is definitely been the highlight of my career as far as opportunities for children. So tonight we have some our teachers that did a fantastic job preparing our students, and I tell you, Mr. Capel, I give him a great deal of credit because he had complete ownership of the entire trip and the entire preparation. So we're grateful tonight that we have our staff here to present, and Mr. Capel, I'll turn it over to you.
Hi, thank you, Dr. Maestas. Thanks for having us this evening. So, as you guys, as everyone's aware, we took a little trip across the pond, and we just would like to try to talk about some highlights of that, both educationally and personally. We have the 3 amazing music teachers. There are about 18 total in the district, but these are 3 amazing music teachers and that worked very hard all year. This project really started in September when we talked about how we would go about it with auditions, and then finally starting rehearsals in January. Is that right? January, December, April? Sorry, wrong timeline. But it was a great experience, and so what I'd like to do is frame the trip a little bit, and then have these amazing music teachers talk about their experience from their point of view in preparing the choir, and what they saw from the kids, and what happened to the students while on the trip. And then, sorry, but most importantly, we'll bring up our 3 ambassadors from the Plymouth International Choir and have them talk from their perspective on what the trip meant to them. And meanwhile, we have 2 places that you can go and learn more about the trip and see great photos and videos, and that's Plymouth International Chorus blogspot.com. So if you just Google Plymouth International Chorus, that this will come up, what's on your screen now, and also the Twitter PIC Chorus, which we'll show you as we chat a little bit as well. So I'd like to turn it over to the music teachers and just have them talk a little bit about their experience and how personally and professionally this worked for you guys.
I was thinking, this project with Plymouth, England was truly about making connections. Connections is a key concept embedded in the Massachusetts arts frameworks, and our students had the opportunity to make connections in 3 main ways as I look at it. Through music, of course, also interdisciplinary through history, geography, ELA and their journal writing, and also making connections with other students in England.
Well put.
Yes.
The whole experience was overwhelming. It was the kids came in. It was overwhelming for the kids, but it was also overwhelming for the 3 of us. They came in at first and were sort of not familiar with each other and not familiar with all of us, and it was a process of getting them just kind of acclimated to each other and to us, and then we put them into this whole other environment. And the day that we went to begin rehearsals in Plymouth, England, the kids walked in, and the Plymouth, England students started applauding, and then we're coming in behind and we're crying. It was very emotional. It was just, like I said, overwhelming. And the whole response over there was incredible. We felt so well cared for and taken care of, and it was just absolutely phenomenal, the whole entire experience, and definitely a highlight of my teaching career.
Well put. Thank you. I totally agree with it, both of you. I do believe that the connecting piece was probably the most important thing that I saw come out of this. I believe that when the students got together with students from England, I think that they could tell you, they'll tell you more, but I think that they could tell you that they found out more about themselves, about how similar they are to people from other countries, but different as well. And I think when they were able to compare their lives and even just their musical lives with those in England, I think it left a huge impact on them. And I've done some international things before with choruses, and I totally agree. This was probably one of the biggest highlights of my whole career, just to witness this group of amazing kids from Plymouth come together with this other amazing group of kids from Plymouth and connect through music. It was just beyond words. I don't even have the proper adjective to describe it. That's how amazing it was. And I'm very proud of all of you. I wish everybody was here to tell them that, but very proud to be a part of this whole team.
It was an amazing trip in so many ways. We had a great team. We had a great team of music teachers. We had a great team of administrators and parent chaperones. I can't say enough about our amazing parent chaperones and how hard they worked to just carry the trip off. It was truly a team effort, and I'm really proud to have been a part of it. What the music teacher said is true. We grew to like or get to know and like the kids even more as well when you spend every minute for 7 days, including 2 periods of 38 hours without sleeping. You get to know people really well, and these are a magnificent group of young people, all of them, every single one of them. And when they walked in just a few minutes ago as we were meeting in the hallway, I was like, oh, it was like, oh, I miss these guys. I've been in my office by myself for the last 2 weeks. Just a great trip. It was based around music, but it was so much more than music, based around music and education. but really about making international connections and bringing together, I think Kathy said, the similarities between people. They talked a lot about the differences and what different words mean in the same language and what words to say and what words not to say. But it was just, we tried to provide as many opportunities for our kids to spend time with students in England as possible. For example, Grace, you were on this, I think. We broke into small groups and we went to individual schools, and I had the honor of taking a few members of our choir to a all-boys school. And when we walked into an all-boys school with mostly all girls, it was a interesting phenomenon. But the amazing thing after, and we can show you. I'll try to show you some pictures on the Twitter feed. But they were just kids, and they talked about similarities and differences, and they researched similarity and differences between the two Plymouths and the two cultures, and they made posters that connected, that again made similarities and differences between their two cultures and their respective cities. So they just immediately connected with kids, and that was amazing. And to give these kids that opportunity to actually spend a lot of time with students their age was a highlight of the trip, I think, for me, besides the concert, which was absolutely phenomenal. We had 31 students. They all sung their heart out, highly talented, but more importantly than talented, hard-working students. Talent is okay, talent is fine. Hard work will get you where you need to go. And these kids all stepped up to the plate. And it was a lot of pressure to sing before the Lord Mayor, both in his mansion and also in the big concert. It was a lot of pressure, and these guys stood up and they trusted the education and the opportunity that was given to them by their phenomenal music teachers, and they just knocked it out of the park. We will have a recording, a professional audio recording, of the concert, and as soon as that's made available, we will put that in as many places as we possibly can do that, so you can hear the amazing quality of these students. You guys heard it yourselves before we left a little bit, but to be perfectly honest with you, that was not a good night. For that was not their best. They did not peak. Sorry. And they got better and better and better. So enough talking from us. I think I'm going to switch to the Twitter and just scroll through that. But can I ask you guys to scooch a little bit, and I'll have the kids come up, and really that's the most important thing. They can tell you this is not rehearsed at all. No, I'm just kidding. So, you guys, we'll share the mic, and whoever's talking, we can take turns, okay? And if you guys introduce yourselves as you go along and talk about your perspective of the trip. What was good? And if you have constructive criticism, acceptable. But be nice, as I said in the hallway, be nice. And just talk about, the music, talk about the trip in general, and really what it meant to you. So first up, Jessie Power.
First, I'd like to say that it was an amazing trip. It was like a chance in a lifetime to go and meet all the people there, and just the way they do things there is so different, but it's like amazing to see. And singing in front of the Lord Mayor was amazing. I can't even explain it, but the way singing with them was amazing too. Most of the part was incredible, but I liked learning about the different words they say compared to us. Like when we say sweatshirt, they say jumper, and learning the different ways they talk and stuff, but it's the same language. And I would like to say that I would probably remember this my entire life, and to thank you guys for picking me.
Grace, just introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Grace Dixon, and I would first like to start off and just thank everybody for making this happen. This was a dream come true for me. It was just such an amazing experience to go to a different country, to a whole other continent, and to meet all kinds of people and exchange culture as well as laughter. I made a lot of new friends there, and I still keep in touch with some of them. And I also made a lot of new friends inside my chorus as well. There are a lot of differences between them, and like Jesse said, they call sweatshirts jumpers. And you know how we call, dollars, our term for them is bucks? They call it quid, like squid without the S. I fell in love with England, and I would not hesitate to go back. Thank you all for this amazing opportunity. There you go, Sophie.
Hi, I'm Sophia, and first off, this was the most amazing trip I've ever been on. Like, going to another continent, it was just so much fun. And like as Grace said, I made a lot of more friends inside the choir than outside, but I still made a lot of friends outside the choir. It was so much fun to just be over there, and it was just a great opportunity. And on the trip, I will hold the memories for the rest of my life, and I hope that when the next group goes over to England, they have as much fun as I have had.
Great. Thank you, guys. I want to, as they are talking, I'm just thinking of all these amazing memories. We did document through social media, and the Twitter really worked well for the families that either we're traveling or we're at home. We tried to keep them updated constantly, like we're taking off now, we're safely landed, but also what we were doing for the day, and they could see pictures, so it was instant communication. So just social media working in a positive manner to communicate with the public and the parents more specifically about what we were doing. We did document, like I said, a lot of things. We filmed some of the work. We filmed, we recorded, we took pictures. We're going to work with Mr. Riley, and we're going to put some of this together, and we will make that certainly a clip of the week and make a longer version for your viewing pleasure as well. We didn't really talk about leadership, and the other positive aspect is developing leadership within these students. I'm sorry, just that time we spent at the boys' school. I'm going back to that story, but the boys wanted the girls to sing a song, and the music teachers weren't there. And I don't know if you remember my background, but I'm a visual artist, just so we're clear. Okay. So it was them, right? So the group of students got together, led by Grace, actually. Grace led this group, got them to figure out their parts, and she was directing in a way to get the kids to come in at the right time and sing their part at the right time. And they did this amazing performance with one third of the choir, led by the students. It was all them. They relied on their great training from their amazing music teachers, but they did it. And so that is what the trip is also doing, is opening eyes to a world that's bigger than Plymouth, Massachusetts, and also giving opportunity for kids to step up and lead. And so that was another magnificent part of this. So we thank you all. We look forward to working on trying to continue this. In our conversations while we were over there with my counterpart, who was new in her role over there, she was very excited after the concert, and we pulled this off to continue this. We are working together. We are sharing with them how we went about selecting our students, about the process that we went through to try to pave the way a little bit for them to organize it. We're hopeful that we will have a group over here by the end of this academic year. We hope somewhere at the end of May, beginning of June, that we will have a choir from England over here. If they're able to do that, and that is my hope, and that is their hope, we will put together a large choir of 100 and 125 students from Plymouth, Massachusetts to reciprocate. They are amazing educators and people, and they hosted us so well. They took care of so many details, and we are happy to go about and return that favor and show this Plymouth how music can bring two communities together. So we look forward to that next year. You guys, if you have any questions or comments, I'm sure the kids would like to answer them.
Very and proud of all of you, so congratulations. Good job.
Excellent job.
Thank
It's great to see you were so excited about it. You're even more excited now that you've come back than when you were leaving. And you were pretty excited then, so it's nice to see. It's nice to see that it was everything you were expecting and much more. So that's very good. Dr. Maestas, did you want to?
I think one of the things that we did to follow up with the trip was we actually met to kind of figure out what the next steps are. I think this trip and having them come here is another big step, but I can tell you that there are some things that I'll be reporting on that are going to be pretty spectacular as we get towards 2020. They are really excited to enhance the relationship that we have, and we believe that on a monthly, biannual basis, you'll hear more and more about those connections that we'll have with Plymouth England and how we really enhance the lives of the children from both Plymouths throughout this process.
Very good. We'll look forward to it.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have a program presentation for therapy dogs in classrooms. And Dr. Maestas, do you want to?
Yes, I
tee
can
up the
frame this for tonight. We have the opportunity to have a teacher in our district who has been involved with service dogs, and she's actually had some significant training. And she had talked with Principal Spencer about this for a while. I've heard about this, and Beth, I've heard that it was kind of bubbling and brewing, and then it actually got to the point where you thought you might want to make a presentation to the school committee. So tonight, Beth is here. Beth is a special education teacher here in the district. She's at Nathaniel Morton Elementary School, and Principal Spencer is here as well to support Beth in this proposal. So tonight, we have Beth here. She's done a lot of work in preparation to actually look at this opportunity. And we also have Stacy Rogers, our special education director, so that she can provide other information that you may have, questions you may have. So I'll turn it over to Beth at this point. Beth, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us tonight.
Thank you.
We are looking into the possibility of having a classroom therapy dog. In my classroom, I teach the Basic Skills program, which houses students from all 8 elementary schools who have significant academic needs. And I teach grades 3 to 5 during the school year. This began in kind of an unusual way. Through the teacher evaluation process, we each have to pick one personal goal and one goal for the students in our classroom. And the students in my classroom in particular within the last 5 to 10 years have been showing up with more and more significant trauma histories. So when we work on teaching them, we really have to get them to the point where they trust us and they're comfortable before we can really make connections with them and their academic work. So my goal this year was to just research ways to create a trauma-friendly classroom. And I began with reading the Purple Book, which is kind of the Bible as far as trauma in the classroom. And it stated that there needed to be constant communication between home and school, and we were already doing that. We needed to train students in recognizing signs within their body and how they would calm themselves. We recognized that using consistent social thinking programs helps the children both regulate their own emotions and recognize when their classmates are having difficulty and develop a common language around that. We were using the zones of regulations and the unthinkables. We also I researched, and my teaching partner down at the lower level was part of this initial push as well, into getting some more child-friendly furniture in there. And we started out with Big Joes, which are kind of big beanbag chairs. Are slightly different. They're slanted. They're more hugging. It gives kids that need a little bit more pressure. And then we looked into the Yogi Bows, which you see the orange one down there. My classroom actually has blue. And then in about December, we came across a connection between animals and children and the types of connections that children can make when animals are present, that they don't make human to human. Many children will bond first with animals and then with their human counterparts. And that's kind of how we got to where we are tonight. I said a little bit about this before. I am at Nathaniel Morton. Mr. Spencer is my principal. Stacy is the director of special education, so she's one of my bosses as well. In my classroom, the difficulties that the children that I work with face are their complexity and their rate of learning is significantly slower than that of their general education peers. They are slow to develop speech and language skills, gross and fine motor skills. The acquisition of social skills and the acquisition of academics are delayed, and the development of self-regulation skills are also delayed. That's not to say that every student I have has a deficit in each of these areas, but these areas are common areas of challenge for the students that are with me. So I started looking around at the research, and if we wanted to integrate a therapy dog, where would be the most reliable place to acquire one of these animals, and what kind of training did they need to have before they got to us? And after researching 4 or 5 different organizations within the state and within the New England area, we came up with the NEEDS program. And this is just basic information for you about the NEEDS program. It was established in 1976. They actually are the only assistance dog program that is nationally certified, and I guess internationally, Assistance Dogs International. And that's based on the quality and intensiveness of the training that they provide, both with the dogs and with the dog's partners. So when we match with a dog, we have to go for training. I will have to go in 2 weeks for a week, and it will be like going back to college. And I have to go to all sorts of classes on learning how to use this specially trained dog to benefit our students. So we started researching the NEEDS program. I filled out an online application. They said, if we didn't hear back in 3 weeks, to give them a call. Well, it was during that period of time when we got all the snow. And this organization is located at the base of Mount Wachusett. So I gave them a month. And a month to the day, they emailed me and said the application was accepted and that I had to go up to Princeton for a 2-hour interview, which took way longer than 2 hours because they were asking lots and lots and lots of questions. I couldn't understand some of the questions they were asking. What I didn't know was I had already been accepted into the program, and they just wanted to find out what we needed our dog to do so they could provide more specific training. So my 16-year-old daughter and I went up together and completed the interview, and this is what we learned. For the therapy dogs themselves, the ones for the classroom programs are what they call purposefully bred, and they're bred through the Federation for the Blind. The Federation for the Blind goes in first and looks at the litter of puppies, and they're looking for puppies that are natural leaders, that don't rely on humans to make decisions, and that pull, because you would want that if you were going to have a dog leading someone around. The second group that comes in is the NEEDS program. They're looking for dogs that are smart, dogs that want to partner with humans but not dominate the relationship, and also for dogs that don't pull, because these dogs are also used to assist people in wheelchairs and for some of the children with autism to be social dogs. So there's a different type of dog that they're looking for. At 8 weeks old, the puppies begin puppy preschool, and they actually go to the NEEDS program, and there's one picture on their website of a teacher, just like I would be in my classroom, kind of all the puppies on the rug. And they're all just sitting there looking at her with rapt attention. I don't know what they were training that day, but whatever it was really interesting to the puppies. After the puppies end their puppy preschool, and they're vetted at each step. So if a puppy nips, they're out. If a puppy shows signs of aggression, they're out. If a puppy is too silly, they're out. If they don't bond easily with humans, they're vetted then. So it's very, very hard for these dogs. They adopt out the dogs that aren't good for the specific programs, and they begin what they call their prison pup program. And there's 10 prison facilities in Massachusetts and Rhode Island that partners with the NEEDS programs and their trainers, and they're specially selected inmates that have the puppies in anywhere between 12 and 18 months. And they train them under the supervision of the NEEDS program. And then on the weekends, they get furloughed and they go to foster homes. So they're looking at bringing them out into the community right from the time that they're very young. They're very friendly with people, and some of those, what kind of felt like invasive questions at the time I was answering them, were really to figure out, did I have cats at home? Yes. Do I have any children that do extracurricular activities? Yes, I have a son who's very involved in Special Olympics and a daughter who's a horseback rider. So we needed to have the dog that would match with me, had to go and live in a barn for a couple of weeks, had to live in a house with cats, and had to be able to be around large groups of people with disabilities. Sometimes our Special Olympic athletes are a little different than what we would expect to find in a classroom. So ours would be trained there to go there as well. And then they asked specifically what the needs in our classroom were. If the kids had tantrums, what did they look like? Were they just loud voices or did they swear? Did they kick? Did they punch? Did they hit? No. But they wanted to make sure that if they matched a dog with us, that dog would be prepared for whatever it may see within our classroom. One of my students reminded me at the end of the year that our dog better be ready for fire drills. So we then had to, which I thought, he has a little anxiety disorder and a severe fear of fire drills, but I thought that's probably a really good idea because that is something unique to a school building. So the dog that they've matched has also been trained what to do during a fire drill. These are the words of my students as far as why we need a therapy dog or how the therapy dog would help in our classroom. Blank has panic attacks during fire drills. Our classroom therapy dog would help him feel better. The child himself is actually hoping that the dog will just, I think, carry him out, which really wouldn't be the case, but it certainly would be a comfort to have him with them. The next child said, I'll snuggle with him when I'm upset. He'll keep my secrets and not tell anyone about my worries. Then I can get back to my work faster. And the third one was that reading is really hard for me. Sometimes reading out loud is really embarrassing, but I'd love to read to a dog, though. I would practice and practice and practice. So those are some of the reasons that my students felt that it would be good for us to have a therapy dog. As far as fundraising, for anyone that gets a NEEDS program dog, whether it's an individual or a group, we're expected to raise between $5,000 and $10,000. We are on the lower end of that. They're asking us to raise $5,000. They give us a fundraising kit, and there's a lot of different ideas in there. We're planning initially to use a letter writing campaign. We've identified some businesses and organizations within our town that we believe, either through personal relationships or through their mission statements, would believe in this and support us in raising the money. Regardless, they're willing to provide the dog and let us raise the money on the back end of this. And it is the responsibility of the owner, who would be me, not the school system, to raise the money. We did match. We were really surprised. Once this kind of, as Dr. Maestas kind of indicated, it was bubbling there for a long time, but not much was going on. And then I think I did something to the little control there. We matched. We've been matched with an 18-month-old. That's okay. She's going to show you the picture of the actual dog. We got one very late. Do you want me to click through?
Yeah, just click through till you find it. Yeah.
Beamer.
So we've been matched with an 18-month yellow lab. All of the NEEDS programs dogs that are therapy, ministry, or classroom dogs are either yellow or black labs. They're matched for intellect and they're matched for disposition. So we matched with a yellow dog named Beamer. We were matched with him specifically because he is excellent with people, he's affectionate, and he loves children. They did also say that he is the silliest of all their dogs and loves to play, has a lot of energy. When I was doing this PowerPoint presentation, we did not have an actual picture of the dog yet. We do now, and I think that's what's going up. So most of their names, because people pay $2,500 to name these dogs as part of their fundraising, are named people names. Michael, Cody, or really peaceful names like Trinity or Willow. And when we matched with Beamer. And I kind of thought, ooh, that is a different name as compared to all the other names I've had. But then we got the picture. And I looked at him and thought, he kind of looks like a Beamer. Makes a lot more sense now. So Beamer is there. We're only seeing the top part of the picture, but you can tell there's still snow in the background. This is, like I said, up at the base of Mount Wachusett. I don't know exactly what month this could have been taken, and it could have been May based on the amount of snow that they had up there, because we can see some ground. But that is the actual dog that we have matched with. He's in his gear. The strap around his snout is not to protect him from nipping or biting or anything like that. It's part of a gentle lead system. These dogs have a double lead so that we can let a student walk beside us with a non-weight-bearing leash, and we have the second weight-bearing leash with myself. So that is what the dog that we have matched with would look like. Can we just go back to the PowerPoint for a second? So what's next? If this is recommended, I am scheduled to attend training from August 27th to the 21st at the NEEDS program in Princeton. Monday and Tuesday night, I have to sleep over there. Wednesday night, I can either sleep there and the dog sleeps in my room, or I'm allowed to actually come home and bring Beamer with me. I have to continue training on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. If I do a good job and am a good student, then I graduate on Friday. If not, I have to go back the following Monday. Typically, I'm a pretty good student, so I'm hoping to be home for the weekend. Beamer will, in order to get Beamer integrated into this specific school, because I work at a couple schools throughout the school year, and they are set up very differently. I don't know exactly what the setup of the school that Beamer has trained in was. Beamer will visit Nathaniel Morton while I set up my classroom. As you know, we're in at least the week before school, so that he'll be able to get acquainted with the classroom in the building. And then he'd start probably on a part-time basis the first week or so while the kids get used to having a dog in the room. And a letter written by Mr. Spencer will be sent home to the school community, just letting them know what's going on. This will be big news in an elementary school. It will be very exciting for the population in general. And I just listed some resources for you if you wanted to look at the different reasons why therapy dogs have been so successful in classrooms.
Very good. Did either of you guys wanted to add to that?
I just would say I submitted the letter, or kind of a mock-up of the letter that we would send. Again, if everything kind of goes according to plan, we would send it out with the notification of sort of classroom placement, so it would be in advance of the start of school, which would allow us a little bit of an opportunity that if there were some families who had some concerns for one reason or another, we could try to address those. I mean, we're starting the situation with Beamer to be really housed directly in Mrs. Kane's room. When we talked about this back in the springtime, I think there's potential for more students to benefit from that throughout our school, but to start with, it's something because of the training and because of the special kind of circumstances of the program and of the dog and whatnot, that really having Beth be in charge of that dog and having it housed right in the classroom. So there'd be, I think, minimal contact really with other students around. Mrs. Kane's classroom is kind of located in a different part of the building where most students aren't walking by and traveling by. She happens to be kind of near a doorway, sort of to get the dog out as well. So, but it would be a dog in the school. And I think, as Beth pointed out, kids would realize that, they'd know that, and we want families to be aware of that so that we could, again, address any concerns that may be there, whatever that's medically and allergy-based, or whether that's just sort of concern or fear that kids or families may have about it. We could help kind of address that. We sort of try to model some of that information from other schools that have used service dogs, and those certainly have been in play in public spaces, and try to look at the benefits that Beth has certainly presented. I think you got an inkling from this small presentation that when Beth comes to me with ideas, I realize that they are well researched and know that they're going to make a huge impact for the students that she works with. And I think a unique piece about that is that her program, as she mentioned, draws from all across Plymouth. And I think she recognizes that these students are in our school, not necessarily by choice, but they are there because that's where we offer the type of supports and programs, and she does everything she can on a daily basis to make that experience unique. And this proposal is no different. So, that's why I guess I'm here tonight. It's why I sort of been along in the process. I will say it kind of got a little advanced over the summer than we thought, which is why we're here tonight, to really make sure that you are aware of where we were at the process. We've been kind of talking in the central office, thinking about, policy pieces or insurance-based pieces, and I know that we've kind of vetted through that situation. So we're excited to kind of move forward with it, and, wanted to at least put that out there and see what was on your mind to think about it.
Anybody? Questions? Yep. Mrs. Betts.
I think it's a great idea. One of the concerns I said, I think you brought up about allergies. If one of the students in your class is allergic, is there a plan in place? Or if during at some point, if a student becomes afraid of a dog because they had an bad experience with another dog, what is going to be the solution to that?
Within my classroom right now, I have 8 students starting with me in September. And we have talked to the parents in my program to make sure that there are no existing allergies. So there's none right now. If it comes to the point where we do have a student that has such a severe allergy that they're unable to tolerate Beamer being in the classroom, then Beamer would just work at Special Olympics that year. And when we no longer had a severe allergy, then we would reintroduce Beamer to the classroom. Beamer will be traveling to both places with me. Relative to fear of dogs, again, we don't have that issue within my classroom. I don't tend to have a lot of children enter mid-year, but that's something that we would talk to the parents about for incoming students, give them an opportunity to meet the dog, reintroduce the dog slowly like we're going to plan to do or hope to do at the start of this year, and then go from there. It's part of the reason why we want to start small, because we're much more likely in the building at large to pick up 1 or 2 of those issues than we will within my own classroom space, just based on numbers. And we have talked to our school nurse relative to immediate allergies that we're aware of right now. There aren't any that would be severe enough to be bothered by a dog being in another classroom. It's not our intent, especially at the beginning, to have Beamer out in the general population.
Okay.
And when my kids go out to recess, Beamer will be crated. That's what their suggestion is. And when we go out for special time with just our class on the playground and on the field, those are the times that Beamer would accompany us. The exception to that would be if we chose to use myself and the school psychologist, Beamer in one of the social groups that also includes children from the general ed classrooms that are working as models, and then would go through the same process with their parents that we have with the parents in my class. I don't know if that's a complete enough.
It's good. Sounds good.
Dr. Sorensen.
I just wanted to tell you that I have a large mental health practice, and we have offices in 3 towns. And for the past 5 years, we've had dogs in our counseling sessions with families and individual sessions. And the dog provides a sense of relaxation and an opening of conversation. Very often you bring an 8-year-old into therapy and they don't want to talk, but if there's a dog in the room, it just works remarkably well. And I wanted to add to your comment is that over 5 years, I would say 98% of the people who come and go through our practice enjoy the presence of the dog. Every once in a while, somebody comes along who prefers not to have the dog around, and the dog goes to another office and to another room and doesn't bother that person. We even bring the dog, when we interview for psychiatrists, we bring the dog into the interview, and that's how we tell whether we're going to hire somebody or not.
But I'm curious, have you tried introducing a dog into any of our programs that's coming like once a month, or, and rather than being there the entire school day.
Yep. So this specific dog is new to us, so he has not specifically
Right.
been in our building. But we have actually piloted therapy dogs on a very limited, smaller basis. I believe in 3 of our elementary schools: Indian Brook, South L, and Federal Furnace. And it happens again like on a once-a-month basis. The dogs come in for about an hour, and the kids can they use their bucks or their money or whatever token economy to sort of purchase time with the dog. Sometimes the dog is out at recess, and so we've been doing it again at a couple of other elementary schools, again on a very limited basis, but this is the first time that we're sort of exploring the actual idea of having a therapy dog within the classroom for the entire day.
Very good. So financially, it's all just the 5,000 that has to be raised, but you have various fundraisings going to happen. But what about the rest of the dogs? The dogs are really like 26,000, right?
Right, but we are only because if you qualify through the needs program, then you have shown a level of need that allows you to not purchase the dog, but defray the cost of its raising. And we are only required to raise between $5,000 and $10,000, which I'm feeling pretty confident based on the initial reactions of some of the people that know that we're going to be able to accomplish that fairly quickly.
And then you would be the owner of the dog?
Yes.
The owner of record?
Yep. I am the owner of record. In this type of partnership, it's always the teacher, the therapist, the minister, or the person with a disability that is the owner of record, yes, which makes me responsible for vet bills and all of the general living expenses of the dog.
Very good. Yep, Dr. Sorensen.
How old is Beamer?
18
Upon arriving, if he's allowed to arrive, at the end of August, he will be 18 months old.
18 months old. A few years ago, one of our dogs passed, and we had to work that into treatment for a couple of children who were very upset by the loss. And that's life.
Mhm.
We have to deal with that sort of stuff in life. And the dog, you don't actually own the dog. They own the dog. Is that correct?
No, once it comes to me, I own the dog.
Oh, it's yours for life.
It's mine for life.
Oh,
so
okay. I didn't realize that. I
Yeah.
thought they still held it.
No,
held
this
ownership.
this is a different program. There are some that are exactly what you say, but this particular program, although they really appreciate continued contact with their dogs because they consider them to be very precious and they're very, very highly invested in the success of their dogs, the dog does become mine.
Okay.
I checked your links that you provided for us so that we could do our homework before tonight, and I found that they've done a lot of types of dogs for different types of training, but they've only done classroom for, out of their 45 dogs, only 4 have been done for the classroom. So we would be kind of on the bleeding edge here, right?
No, in Massachusetts, I've spoken to one other person who's in my exact same position, grades 3, 4, and 5, self-contained special education program in Massachusetts, who has a dog named Serenity in her classroom. So they are out there. This has caught on much more, so they tell me, in upper state New York.
Mhm.
And that's where the majority of classroom dogs are now. This is also unique because we're not just getting a therapy dog. There's different classes and different intensities of training. And most therapy dogs that go into the hospitals or go to the nursing homes or go to the other elementary schools, they're typical dogs that are owned by an individual and they just have to pass an obedience class. The level of training of the needs program is completely different. They spend the first 12 to 18 months of their lives learning how to do this job, and they love to work. So they come to work in the classroom. Are we going to be early on in this? Certainly in Plymouth, because I'm the first one kind of rolling with this. I do know that Pilgrim Academy, the Pilgrim Collaborative, not the Academy, has apparently 3 therapy dogs and a therapy pig.
And therapy pig?
And
That's where I drew the line.
Yeah, he wouldn't let me get a therapy cat either. So we are certainly not the only town doing it, but we are. Michael kind of indicated when I set out to do something, I kind of set out to do the best. and I want the best for my kids. And this was new kind of to this program because I've only been doing therapy dogs, ministry dogs, and classroom dogs for a very kind of limited amount of time as compared to their assistance dogs, which started in '76. So we're certainly, we're not, I don't think, on the bleeding front edge, but we are certainly towards the top of the trend.
Very good. Very good. I'm looking at Mrs. Betts because both her and I come from upstate New York. And in where we lived, the Guiding Eye for the Blind, that's where they started. So we used to seeing them around towns and the training and the housing, and we even had some of the rejected ones. So you mentioned earlier, if there's something wrong, they reject them, and I had to reject it. Yeah, I think it almost, yeah. So they're great. I mean, this would be a great program. I wish it's a success. Hope it's a success. We don't need to vote on this, right?
I think really we wanted to get some feedback from the committee, because if we felt that you had strong reservations about supporting a program like this, we would really rethink how we would want to introduce something like this. So I think tonight was for feedback from you. I think it really lies within the special education department and the decisions that they make as far as providing resources to our students. We have done some of this in the past, but this is really stepping it up a notch, and really, I think for us, what I'd like to see happen is that we would get some kind of feedback and response as how the dog is actually responding to students and to the school, because eventually, I actually in my mind see the dog becoming a fixture in that school, you know, because kids really gravitate to it. I was in a airport early this week, and there was a service dog that the airport uses just for people with fear of flying. And I tell you, the people were just probably 80% of the people that went by the dog went to go and touch it and pet it and hug it, and the dog was just so calm. And it was a lab. It looked like the same kind of dog, but the dog just loved every second of it. And the people were just, it seemed to just relax people. And you know, I think if we can provide a resource for our students that can help Beth in her classroom to reach a different level with them, I think it's worth a try. And I think tonight's presentation was to get your feedback.
Yes.
I had a conversation with a student today who had no idea we were going to be talking about this, and she is hoping to, this is one of her tentative topics for her senior project. So I'm thinking there might be a mentor available for her. I don't know, but she had no idea. It was a very strange conversation, because I said, "Oh my goodness, this is what we're talking about tonight." So I just thought that was interesting.
And I will tell you, just from a quick story, I am the director of our ESY program during the summer. And when you're the director or a coordinator of anything, if someone else calls in sick, you're doing that job. So on late Wednesday night, my bus monitor, one of my 2 bus monitors, calls in sick. So at 8 o'clock, I was at 7:55 at the library going on my first bus route of my career as a bus monitor. There were 17 children by the time we picked everybody up, and everyone was really well behaved except this little guy. And he has autism, and he was very tired, and he wanted to snuggle with everybody on the bus who wanted no part of snuggling with him. So he was fussy and crying, and there was a group up near me, and we were just talking, and I had said to one of my older students, a prior student, "You know, I'm really working hard this year to get a therapy dog in my classroom." I said, "I'll show you a picture," and we got talking a little bit back and forth, and all of a sudden, this little guy with autism popped up, and he hadn't spoken to me the whole van ride. He had cried at me and mumbled at me, but no words, and he popped up and he said, "I want to see that dog too. Can I come and sit in your seat?" And just even the picture of the dog and talking about the dog warmed that little boy up.
Yeah.
Dr. Sorensen.
Just a couple of logistic items. Mr. Spencer, your letter asks parents to respond to you as quickly as possible. If the letter is going out to parents about this, I think it ought to go out with a vote from this committee, because if that letter's going out, this is no longer discussion. We're sending a letter out to parents, and it's already been you've already
the
developed the
training,
letter,
so,
so.
yeah.
And so in a moment, I'll make a motion to accept the proposal. But I want to ask a special education question. Will there be a need to reference the dog in any of the educational plans that will come forward this year for those particular kids in that particular classroom?
We're not going to put it in as an IEP service. It's strictly a part of the program. I guess for me, it's similar to if a building were to have a therapy pool. You know, things can happen to a therapy pool. The pool can, you know, get bacteria and things like that, so they don't put it as an educational plan. Certainly we could write goals and objectives that might reference social skills and things like that through a multimodal experience or something like that, but we would leave the dog out because, as Ms. Batts had said, if for some reason the dog gets sick or things like that, it wouldn't be a service that we would be able to provide if that were to
That's
happen.
specifically why I asked you the question.
Yep.
So I'd like to make a motion that we support the recommendation of the inclusion of a therapy dog into the special education classroom at Nathaniel Morton School.
Okay, Mrs. Burgess seconded it. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous.
So Ms.
Very
Dargan.
excited by it.
Thank you so
I wish you
much.
all the luck and keep us
And we'd
informed.
be more than willing to come back at the end of next year and let everybody know
I would
how
love
it-
to hear
Can we
it.
meet him?
But bring him
Can
with
we
you.
Yeah, bring the dog.
I have the ability to bring it on that big first day, but he will not have been with me long enough to really feel confident. But
Yeah.
we certainly would be more than willing to share him with anyone who would like to meet him or anyone that would like to visit the classroom and see what he's doing.
And then how would the students react if we came in the classroom?
They wouldn't even notice.
No.
And I'll tell you why. I
Okay.
get a lot of visitors. A lot
okay.
of the younger teachers come to observe. We have a lot of people in to observe, and my kids are just told that these are adults that are visiting because we are the very best room
Oh,
in the
okay.
district, and everyone wants to see how well they're learning.
They might hit you up for a donation, though.
They do. Right, definitely.
They asked me at the end of last year, because we were talking about this. So when I walked in, they said, "Are you going to help donate? Because we have to raise $5,000." As they were writing some letters. So be ready for that.
Mr. Begg, just to follow up,
Yes.
if I heard Dr. Sorensen correct, and I think it's a good suggestion, is that in your letter, we might want to include that the school committee endorsed the inclusion of
Sure.
the dog to the classroom, so that way.
Unanimous endorsement.
Yeah.
Unanimous.
Thank
Certainly.
you so much.
Great. Thanks for your time.
Congratulations.
Take care.
Thank you.
Mommy.
Next, we have job descriptions, but did we want to skip over that for the next meeting since Pam's not here?
We can do it.
Okay.
We can do it. I'm prepared to review them. I've actually talked with Dan and worked with him on these, so I can cover it.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So tonight, just a preview of we have 4 job descriptions, and just like our programs in the district, when they transition or we have opportunities to look at our programs, we look at how does the staff description really fit with what we do. Tonight we have 1 updated job description, and we have 3 additional job descriptions. One thing that I might add for this particular program, this program is funded 100% by the cable tax that supports our TV programming throughout the district. And it is from elementary, middle, and high school. The proposal, the descriptions that you have tonight are really looking at targeting 3 different areas. One, the technical TV assistant is really looking at supporting Dan and his work across the district. We have an elementary educator specialist who will really look at enhancing the elementary presence within this area. As you know, we do have some programming at the middle school level. We have significant programming at the high school level, and that's really where we started. Our goal and Dan's goal is to really take our programming down to the elementary level, and we want to produce some significant programming across the district. And the last description is a position that is really looking at enhancing our presence with social media, but using video and using the resources that are developed through the studios across the district to inform the community of things that happen in our district, whether they're good things communicated to the community, or whether things that aren't all that popular that we need to clarify with their community. I'm thinking, for example, assessment and park and some of the things that people had questions to last year. How can this position really help to communicate it? When we have issues that come to school committee or come to our stakeholders in the community, how can this program help us to promote that? So the first position is the TV technical assistant, and this is a position that we have had in the past. You can see the description actually has some modifications to it. Those modifications are in red, and you can see the changes that are being recommended tonight. We're looking for a person that has some video production experience, and that is added to the qualifications. We did add the common language that we added to number 5, which is proven ability to work in a polite and friendly manner, and also the proper name for the Education TV director. And a few of the other items have been removed and added. So this position is somebody that supports Dan and the work in our schools. And Dan is here tonight to answer any questions you may have for any of these proposed job descriptions. So I'll turn it back to you, Mr. Chair, on this particular one.
Anybody have any questions on this one? The director title is a little misleading. I brought this up once before, and it's just the way that you guys use the term director, but it's different than in other places. So you don't mean that they went from specialist to director. That's a big jump.
I'm the director. The change is they report to me, and my title changed to director. So that's why it's changed. It says the report to. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure it was perfectly clear in the contract who they're reporting to.
Who their boss is,
Yeah.
yes. Thank you. That completely missed that.
All right. And
I like the rewording of number 5, and
yes.
it's on all of them now.
It does seem to flow.
This compromise is good.
Well, you can see that all of them have that particular one.
Yes.
Now, so, all right. The next one is the education production manager, and this is a new position. And Dan can speak more specific with questions, but you can see the roles and responsibilities, the qualifications. You know, what we are looking for are skilled video professionals that can really help us to enhance our programming, not only the quantity but the quality. And I think Dan has some great expectations of the program, and we believe that the support that we need in this program, this support will help to get his program where he needs to take it.
Very good. You have anything you want to add to that?
Well, I just want to say that the first 2 positions that he talked about is technically taking one position and putting it into 2, because what we really want to do is we want to step up how many events we put on the television channel. I'd say we roughly average 10 new productions per week. I'd really like to double that, so there's 20 new productions each week. But we're also going to do a great job this year, starting with those training videos that I mentioned, where we train teachers to do certain skills, and we're going to have little video vignettes on how to do that. So that's another added job to our team. So these 2 positions are going to be doing more work, so that's why we have to add another position to the posts.
Very good.
Okay.
Video teacher.
The next position. This position is really what I talked about earlier. And Dan and I, every year I have a goals meeting with Dan, and we talk about the program. And one of the things that we both feel is important for our district is the elementary school needs to have more of a presence as far as video, as far as promoting what happens in our elementary schools. What we'd like to do with this position is create an elementary video teacher who will actually work in our elementary schools to inspire 10 videos will be produced a year in every school in the district. So that'll be 80 videos that will represent our elementary population, and we also will be covering our preschool, which is our 9th entity in the district. So this is a big task, it's a big job, but we believe that this person is going to train our army of students in the district to become proficient and to become our future stars at the middle and high school level. So it's almost a training ground to get our students prepared as they grow through the years in our district. So you can see it's these are our skilled positions, and Dan believes that this description appropriately addresses the needs for this program moving forward.
I think you said that pretty well. So.
Pretty good. He's pretty good
Yeah,
at it.
yeah.
Last one?
And the last one is the position I talked about earlier. And this is, I think, we have a great deal of video content, and it covers all the way from safety and security to pedagogy in the classroom. And one of the things that we don't do a good job in our district is really having a presence with social media and really using the resources that we have already produced to share information. And what we're looking at doing is using a media and communication specialist to really take the information that we have and the information that we're looking to gather and share it across the district. And you know, I was talking to Mr. Begley about this topic, and I've talked to him in the past, and I know that, you know, Dr. Sorensen brought it up a couple times this year, that we're always behind the 8 ball. We're always reactive, and I think this is an opportunity to become proactive. And if we have to be reactive, maybe it's reactive within hours opposed to days. So we believe that with the information that we have, with the resources that we have in our buildings, that we can use an individual to be able to help share accurate information in our district. And we can pull video, we can pull resources that we have that we've already developed to really promote it across the district. And hopefully this is going to help us to really address a major goal that I have in the district. I know the school committee is very concerned about how we have information out to our community, and we believe that this can help us to do that.
And with these positions, are they being funded through the cable
Yes.
money?
They are funded through the cable funding, yes.
Good.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. Mrs. Betts?
If the teacher one, if you look, how is it funded through the cable if they're under the APC?
The funding source is through the cable funding. That those dollars get applied to the general fund. Okay.
Okay.
So they're still under the same unit. They still would be paid under they're paid through a different source, but they still are covered through the association. They pay dues out of the salary that they make. Okay, so they would still be under the EAPC.
Okay, but the other three are not.
No, because those are unaffiliated. Those a teacher would be affiliated. The others are unaffiliated, and they would be adjunct contracts, meaning they're on a yearly basis.
Okay.
Okay.
Ms. Hunt?
So, you know, the presentation recommendation that I gave about social media, so
Sure.
one of the biggest questions was who was going to actually be the person to do that. So that would be this
Yes.
position. It would
Yes.
be,
Yes.
you know, for a district
Yes.
purpose or the school committee purposes as well,
It's
as
for
far as getting
the-
information.
The main purpose and the main intent
Mhm.
is to have a single point of distribution of information.
Mhm.
I send out my own tweets, I send out my own email, I send out all my communications to the community. What we would do in the future is I would facilitate all this information, and we would meet on a weekly basis to brainstorm and to really look at how we could foster what we already have and what we need to develop in the future to communicate key information to the stakeholders of the community.
And that's good, and because there was a a phrase or a comment made at our last meeting that we will never be ahead, we can never get the information out as quickly as social media can. So this is going to give us that edge to be there and get the information out. Yeah, do you remember that comment that was made? So it would be good or bad, it would be good for us to be where the people are looking for what's going on.
Well, I'll give you an example. I frequently go into the studio and do a little introduction to something that we're doing. I'll talk about something that's happening in the district, and we'll send it out to students, or we'll send it to staff. Well, that same message can then be sent out through a bunch of different venues so that people can get that same information. So it's enhancing what we do.
Yep.
I think it broadens the scope of that.
And would we create I know we
Yes.
are already on Twitter,
Yep.
but we talked about creating a Facebook
Yep.
page.
I think the most powerful thing about this position is whatever the message is that the Plymouth Public Schools wants to get out there,
Yeah.
it will be pushed out all at once to all the social media sites.
Yeah, like
and
with a
it's
Hootsuite
all
or something
constant
like that,
because it's
yeah.
coming from one person. It's
Absolutely.
not some wording differently here than here.
Perfect.
It's all staying and true to what we're talking about at that moment.
Great. I think that the community is going to be happy with that.
Yeah.
We're going to be happy.
We're going to be
And
happy.
depending on, and not everyone uses the same social media, so this
Exactly.
is going to touch whoever we need to find the information to. Someone will have one part of that social media.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about the need, and I apologize for my ignorance, but let me understand something about the cable money. The cable money goes into the general fund.
Yes.
Now, is that a fixed amount? Because we're adding 3 FTEs here. Will that go up with the 3 FTEs?
The cable money is actually a fixed percentage. It's a fixed percentage on the subscribership. As the subscribership goes up, the revenue goes up. So one of the things that we have been able to do over time is, as the subscribership has gone up, we've looked at how we modify the program. So we have actually planned to, when Dan does his planning, he does multi-year planning. So we're actually preparing for the opening of South High School. We're looking at equipment, we're looking at staffing, we're looking at all those different components. We believe, based on the dollars that we get from cable funding, that we are able to look at adding these positions to that particular budget. The biggest pieces of the budget that Dan manages has been hardware. One of the things that we've been able to do over the last 4 or 5 years is we have invested those dollars into hardware. The hardware is in place. The issue that we have right now is now we need to take that hardware and we need to enhance the production of that hardware. So I think we're in a great building phase of the program, and I think management of these dollars, Dan has done a wonderful job of that. I think the community would be will benefit greatly to these modifications.
And just to add to that, I know how much we get from the cable each year. So I've averaged that out for the past 6 years. And even adding these 3 positions, we will still have substantial amount of money to spend on the students, on the equipment, each and every year, even with these added positions. Plenty to do what we need to do.
That's what I want to know. Thank you.
And remember, a few short years ago, there was no cable in the southern part of town. So now it's getting more available to more areas of the town.
Yeah, it's increasing every month.
There's a follow-up to that, and I think Dr. Sorensen brings up a very, very good point. I think that, when I came to the district many years ago, the district funded a person like Dan. It was a budget item. And we were able to negotiate several years later the cable contract. And keep in mind that we are going to go through another negotiation, and it's important that and we're working with the leadership in town to make sure that the funding percentages stay the same moving forward. So we're looking at long-term funding through the program, and we believe we can make that happen.
They're long-term contracts, aren't they?
They are 10-year contracts.
10 years, yeah.
And we're running near the end of that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
So, does anybody have any, we covered 4 positions here. Does anybody have any questions on any of them? Then do I hear a motion? We just do all 4 of them in one shot.
Comment.
I move that we approve the 4 job descriptions for the educational TV.
Do
I'll
I have a
second
And a second, Mrs. Betts seconds it. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, Dan.
I look forward next year to showing you what the difference those positions have made. So thank you very much.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awkward pause while my iPad's moving very slow. All right. School fundraisers. The new template was put in, and obviously, nothing has started yet. But did anybody see anything that you're like, oh, good, we're doing that? Okay. Reports and proposals from committee members. That came up yellow. Why is that?
It says it was revised. Anything revised comes up yellow.
I know, but it's empty, but
It's empty.
anyway. Anybody have, yes, Ms. Hunt.
I did, along with Miss Betts, we attended the Summer Institute today, and once again, I was blown away by, I mean, if any of you have a chance to
The
come
AI
tomorrow, the I3, being a member of the steering committee, I was invited to go, as was Mrs. Betts, and just hearing the conversations, it's kind of sad that this is the last year for it, and I think one of the big pieces of the big conversations of the next 2 days is now what, and I would love to see some of it trickle down to the younger grades, involve some of the other schools. It's pretty awesome to see the kids, and all of the discussions that are being had in this group is absolutely amazing. And I think since it is here in Plymouth, if anybody is around, last year we went to Nashua for it. It's at Plymouth North. It's from 7 to 3 tomorrow, or 7:45 to 3. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I was lucky that I had the 2 days. I was free to go. So that was one thing. And then I wanted to mention, so this wasn't a school committee responsibility of mine. It was a Massachusetts PTA task of mine, is working with the Fuel Up to Play 60 program, which I've talked about before. And I think, given Dr. Maestas' announcement about the working with the collaboration with Reebok, and I think this is important. I met with Mr. Van Cott, who was helping to promote this grant. It's a grant that the schools, primarily the PTAs, but they don't have to be PTAs, so the high schools and Manomet will be allowed to apply for this grant. It's up to $4,000 for each school. The deadline for the grant is November. Originally, what we were going to do is ask just one school to try and see how it goes. But after meeting with Mr. Van Cott, we decided that we were going to just pretty much help all of the schools fill out the grant application. It's $4,000. $2,000 of it goes to promote healthy breakfast. They can purchase things like carts to put at the beginning of the school for the grab-and-go breakfast, or coolers. But $2,000 of it is also for gym equipment or things to promote a healthy exercise. So what I'm going to try and do as a PTA member, and we talked about this a little bit, is meet with all of the PTA presidents in Plymouth. I did send them out an email. I only got one response, which was very disappointing. I think my next email, I might include the principals of the schools. Yeah, it is summertime, and there's transition. A lot of PTA presidents aren't presidents anymore. So what I want to do is try and streamline the grant, basically fill it all out for them and give it all to them, and have them put in just their specifics and submit them all. From what I've been told by the USDA is we're going to get the money. So we just need to, that's why they're frustrated that it hasn't been moving as quickly as it has, because they have the money and they want to give it to us, and they really want Plymouth to take off with it. So I've volunteered to spearhead it. I don't know why. I'm missing that part of my brain that says no. But I did tell them I would spearhead and coordinate it. But yeah, anything. Yes, tomorrow? Yeah, so I think that's exciting. I think it's a good way to get some money into the schools for some additional
Yeah.
things, and it could even be partnered with what you're doing. It's $4,000 per school. Why would you turn that away? So,
For the school, too.
yeah,
4,000 per,
per
right?
school.
Yeah.
Per school. So, but that's pretty much what I've been working on.
That's all?
That's it. That's it.
Anybody
I
else?
think.
It's been a quiet summer. We had our retreat. Dr. Mayeses will, once you settle down from your trip, and we'll have a few minutes, we'll give you an update on what we discussed and some of the actions that came out of that. And we had a productive meeting, I thought. Actually, I didn't think we had enough material to fill what we had scheduled, and we wound up dropping 2 or 3 things. So that was good. So if nobody has anything else, we'll move on to the next thing, which is the building committee.
Well, the building committee's had a busy summer, actually. We've met more often than not, and most of it's because of the town hall project. And I was on the committee too for the sub-bidders. I got a
To check references and things.
No, actually, the town hall did the references. I had to take the packet and make sure that everything was there. There was thousands of things. But, yeah, but also they had to check references and the financials on it, yeah. The part I got was the acoustical tile and resilient flooring. So, anyhow, but we've been meeting. That committee met twice, and then we had been meeting extra. It's just because all those sub-bidders were coming in, and we had to decide what to do. We have picked the contractor for it. It's Agostini Bacon, and so they're the lowest qualified bidder, and that was good. So we're moving forward with it. The concern I have, though, I got a copy of the Board of Selectmen's meeting coming up tomorrow night, and it has poll petition for NSTAR petitions, and it's for 6 different polls, and it says South Russell Street. So I brought it up at the meeting. Was that to do with the town hall? And yes, it was. And I said, then well, I'm looking at the projects that they've been doing, like down Summer Street, where we still have 2 poles, where they put poles right in the middle of the sidewalk so that the handicapped people cannot get their wheelchair down the street. So they're not in.
Utility poles?
The
Yes.
utility
Utility.
poles. And sometimes 2 utility poles, or 1.5 hanging way up there because they haven't transferred the wires, the phone wires or some kind of wires over to the new pole. But anyway, it's been going on for a couple of years now. And so I wanted to make sure that that didn't happen to us for the town hall, because you do want to have ADA compliance and for people who are handicapped to be able to get up the street to the town hall. And so anyway, that was one concern that I had. But STV said that they were going to look after it, so hopefully that's what will happen. They were looking for, on these bids and sub-bids, as people with a letter that have done work with historic structures, but I think there was only one that I had counted on mine that did. Most of them don't. They're thinking of the bigger, larger, newer part of the building, not the front. So I don't know just how they're going to handle that on it. But anyway, they're going to be due. I've got so many, because there was a meeting July 1st, the regular meeting, the July 30th meeting, so the bids will be coming in. Now, all these people that we're checking on, they haven't bid the project. They've showed their interest in the project. Now we have to wait for them to see who will bid and what the bids are going to be, what amounts. And they had gotten a list together of all the ones that did qualify, and well, they'll go from there when it comes in. And 9/24 is when we're going to open the bids. The same day we're having the school.
Groundbreaking.
So we're going 2:30 to do this and then to the groundbreaking and do that, but that's all right.
You love it, you know it.
But it's interesting, but that's when the bids will be opened, and we'll work on that. Then the Plymouth South High School, of course, they said it was 9/24. I didn't know whether it was 4 or 4:30. I don't know if they did.
I don't think
It's probably going to be 4:30.
4:30, all right. And, okay, and on that, it was just an update from the meeting that they usually send out to everybody. You get a copy of that, don't you?
Yes.
And they brought up, we've got the Sims house given back to us, as you know, from Manamet. And we've had somebody review the property for fire alarm protection, because there's so much. I guess that the outside had been done, but nothing was done ever on the inside. And some things that have come to light, like there's no electricity or anything, nothing's there. So when they did the outside, it appears that they didn't put things back. So we have to do something about it, but we do have to protect it. So a vote was taken to put the fire alarm protection in, and so that'll be accomplished. And we'll see what happens as this moves forward. We didn't hear any more on the, they're waiting for somebody to finish something before they can start to build the 2 restrooms and
White Horse Beach.
yeah, at White Horse Beach. So I don't want to name anybody. So, but anyhow, that's what they're waiting on, so that they can get that built. So obviously, it won't be up and running this summer. We also did get from the contractor what things were going to be costing and things like that. So I've got that. And I'm just looking to see if there was anything else. Oh, parking up garage update. They're still working on getting a grant. That hasn't changed really. I'm trying to see.
While you're looking, I'll just add, there's been just a small renaissance for the building committee in that over the past maybe a year or so, several projects have gone forward in the town that have not come before the building committee. So in terms of trying to make this system work better, the town manager is making sure that every single construction project comes before the building committee. So that's why you hear about the Sims house now, and that's why you hear about the
White Horse.
the bathhouse on the beach, just to make sure that everything gets the approval of the building committee. So it's getting to be a very complex committee.
Okay. And so, and then I have a list of the schedule going forward too for the town hall. And so we've completed the pre-qualification, the estimated values and bid recommendations, and so there, all the rest is coming up, and I'll report on it as we discuss it. So I guess that's it for tonight. It's
Very
enough.
good. Thank you.
And these are some copies for you.
Thank you. Now we have appointments, leaves of absence, resignations. You want me to do it? Or?
Yeah, I guess so. You don't
When,
do you?
you want to do it? I have the sheet here. Do you have the sheet too? You do. Okay.
We have 16 certificated appointments, 24 classified appointments, We have 1 short-term leave of absence, and we have 18 resignations.
That was easy. Accounts payable warrant, the first one being July 2nd. Ms. Hunt.
Whereas school committee members have been provided with a copy of the cost center transfer and transaction summary report and the warrant for review, I move, let me just go to here, right?
Mhm.
This warrant, that the Plymouth School Committee accept and approve the report and accounts payable warrant number S15JUL2 dated June 30th, 2015, in the amount of $1,896,482.78 as presented.
Move the approval of the warrant.
He seconded it.
Didn't I move it? Because I just did it.
No, you moved it, he seconded it. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Next one, July 23rd.
All right. Let me make sure that I have, oh, yep, there we go. Whereas school committee members have been provided with a copy of the cost center transfer and transaction summary report for review, I move that the Plymouth School Committee accept and approve the report and accounts payable warrant number S072315 dated July 23rd, 2015, in the amount of $195,641.10 as presented.
Second.
Seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. And then the last one is August 6th.
Sorry, not there yet.
For minutes.
Huh?
No?
No, there's one, oh wait, no, I
No,
don't
there's
have
an
another one.
August 6th one. Accounts payable warrant, is it empty? No.
Oh, mine says July 30th. Is that the right one? For 445?
0806.
No.
Is this the right one that you're talking about?
080615.
Yeah.
August 6th.
Oh, mine says July. Okay, well, let me just, whereas school committee members have been provided with a copy of the cost center transfer and transaction summary report and the warrant, I move that the Plymouth School Committee accept and approve the report and accounts payable warrant number S080615. I have it dated July 30th, 2015, in the amount of $445,272.06 as presented.
I'll second it, and the date on the warrant is 7/30/15.
Yeah, just the number is usually, they usually sync.
Oh, I see. You were reading the number as August 6th.
yeah,
Oh, okay. I was looking at the date.
The number is usually the date. But sometimes they don't sync. But.
Okay.
So we have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Now we have a set of minutes.
I didn't get a set of minutes. Mine comes up as the policy on minutes.
Mine came up as minutes.
Mine did too. I reviewed the
What a
minutes.
riot. Oh, no, now it came up the other way. But the first time I brought it up, it was a policy on minutes. It was very interesting, but, but I hadn't, okay, it's minutes now.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions on the minutes?
I move we approve the minutes as presented.
And do I have a sec? And Mr. Morgan seconds it. Any further discussion?
Yeah, she and I abstained.
Yeah, I'll get there. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, abstaining? 2 abstentions. See? You have to have faith, Mrs. Burgess.
When I saw the other thing instead of minutes, I said, wait a minute, what's my favorite?
Now we have obsolete books and material.
Yes, tonight we have two separate disposal of equipment items. We have textbooks at South Elementary School that are obsolete and no longer in use, and they have been approved for discard by the principal, and Dr. White, the program manager.
What was missing, just I have a clarifying question
Mhm.
first, is on quantity. There's no quantity on these. There's just, there's a
Yeah,
title,
there-
I can't tell if it's one book or 1,000 books.
Yeah, and it's not listed on the form. And if you would like to hold on the approval of these until we have that quantity, we can do
Yeah.
that.
I think it's not pressing or anything, so I think
Okay.
until we have that piece of information, otherwise we don't know what
Yeah.
we're approving.
And I might add that both of the items presented tonight do not have quantity, so
Right.
I can have that added and put on the agenda for next meeting.
Sounds good. No,
Take up next meeting.
I mean, we could if we want to make it super formal. Go ahead.
No, we don't have to.
Go
I'm just
ahead.
a-
No,
I'm just
go ahead.
inquiring.
It's okay.
I make a motion to postpone voting on the disposal of obsolete equipment until we have quantities.
And a second? Ms. Hunt seconds it. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous.
Thank you.
And then I can't see that, so it's 8:44. So without objection, we're adjourned at 8:44.